Could a Caribbean island with a population smaller than Brooklyn really be making a power play against one of the world's most influential airlines? Jamaica is making a bold claim that it's on the verge of becoming the Caribbean hub for Emirates. But with the airline giant publicly denying direct flights, one has to ask, is this a brilliant strategic leak in a high-stakes negotiation, or a sign that Jamaica's grand ambition is about to come crashing down? While the world watches Jamaica's multi-billion-dollar airport expansion, a quieter, more audacious story is unfolding. This isn't just about tourism. It's about power, ambition, and a high-stakes geopolitical chess match being played out at 40,000 feet. The island nation, famous for its beaches and music, is trying to pull off one of the boldest maneuvers in modern aviation history, to become the linchpin for Emirates in the Americas. This is the story of how Jamaica is aiming to link into the global flight network of one of the world's most powerful airlines. It's a gamble that could either revolutionize Caribbean travel and catapult the nation onto the world stage, or end in a spectacular and very public failure. The lines have been drawn, the statements have been made, and the world is now watching to see who blinks first. To understand the sheer scale of Jamaica's plan, you first have to get its current reality. For decades, the Jamaican economy has relied on tourism, an industry that ebbs and flows with the travel seasons of North America and Europe. It's a paradise, yes, but a paradise tethered to a fragile economic model. The nation's leaders know that to secure its future, it can't just be a beautiful destination. It has to become an essential crossroads. For years, the island's main airports, Sangster International in Montego Bay and Norman Manley International in Kingston, were showing their age. They were functional, but built for a different era of aviation, designed to be the end of the line for vacationers, not a transit point for global travel. Congestion was a growing problem, and the infrastructure was a bottleneck, limiting the island's potential. Jamaica was a destination, but it was far from a hub. This is where the grand vision begins. The Jamaican government has unleashed a multi-billion-dollar master plan to transform its airports from tourist gateways into global aviation hubs. We're talking about a capital program injecting $152 million for the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year alone, with another $372 million slated for the years that follow. At Sangster International, a runway extension was completed to allow larger long-haul jets to land safely, aircraft capable of non-stop flights from more distant markets. An expansion of the East Concourse, set for completion in 2025, is adding new passenger lounges and more aircraft stands for wide-body jets. In Kingston, Norman Manley International is undergoing its own sweeping modernization, with runway rehabilitations and safety enhancements to bring it to a world-class standard. And the ambition doesn't stop there. The government has announced plans for a brand new $460 million international airport near the resort town of Negril, a project designed to expand economic activity. There's even been long-term talk of developing the old Vernam Field Aerodrome into a massive cargo and logistics hub. This isn't just a renovation, it's a declaration of intent. Jamaica is building the infrastructure to rival established hubs like Miami or Panama. But here's the hard truth of aviation. Stunning airports are just concrete and glass, without the one thing that gives them life, a powerful airline partner. An airport is a tool, it needs a master craftsman to wield it. And in the world of global aviation, there are few bigger names than Emirates. Emirates isn't just an airline, it's a global force. Operating from its fortress hub in Dubai, its network spans over 150 destinations across 6 continents. An Emirates route can redefine a city's economic fortunes. For Jamaica, securing a partnership with Emirates isn't just about a new flight on the departures board. It's about securing the ultimate prize. It's the missing piece that could turn their multi-billion-dollar infrastructure gamble into a world-changing success. The question is, how do you convince a giant like Emirates to bet big on a small island? This is where the story shifts from construction to high-stakes diplomacy. The Jamaican government, led by its relentless tourism minister, Edmund Bartlett, has been on a multi-year crusade to court the Dubai-based giant. Bartlett and his delegation have become fixtures at the Arabian travel market in Dubai, holding high-level meetings with Emirates top executives. The initial foundation was modest. Emirates doesn't fly its own planes to Jamaica. Instead, access is provided through partnerships. There's a code-share agreement with the German airline Condor, which allows Emirates to place its EK code on Condor's flight from Frankfurt to Montego Bay. This means a passenger can book a single ticket from Dubai all the way to Jamaica. Similar interline agreements exist with carriers like United Airlines and Air Canada, providing other pathways. But for Minister Bartlett, this soft network was never the end goal. They want the main course, a full-fledged hub and spoke model, with Jamaica as the central hub for Emirates in the Caribbean. And then, in March 2025, the Jamaican side decided to force the issue. The Ministry of Tourism made a stunning announcement. Emirates would begin a new service to Montego Bay starting April 10, 2025. They detailed a weekly flight from Dubai, transiting through Frankfurt, operated by a Boeing 777-300. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority even published an ad confirming the code-sharing arrangement. Minister Bartlett hailed it as a mega achievement. But just as the celebration began, the plan hit turbulence. A statement emerged from an account executive linked to Emirates, which stated the airline had no official plans in place to start flights to Jamaica. It clarified that official announcements would only come through formal channels. Suddenly, the narrative was thrown into chaos. The opposition in Jamaica's parliament seized on the confusion, accusing the government of misrepresenting the deal. Was this a massive political blunder? Minister Bartlett's response was telling. He pushed back, suggesting the representative who sent the denial might not be fully informed about the high-level arrangement. In essence, the Jamaican government was publicly contradicting an Emirates-linked source, doubling down on their claim. The standoff was on. This public clash reveals the raw power dynamics at play. There are a few possibilities. First, this was a strategic leak by Jamaica. By announcing the flight as a done deal, they may have been trying to create momentum and pressure Emirates to finalize an agreement. It's a high-risk tactic to force a giant's hand. Second, it was a genuine, but premature, announcement. Eager for a political win, the government may have misinterpreted the progress of the talks. This would explain Emirates' swift denial, as airlines are notoriously secretive about route announcements. Third, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Negotiations were likely advanced, but the Jamaican announcement forced Emirates into a public denial to maintain control of the timeline. Emirates' later, more measured statements have tried to smooth things over, reaffirming the Condor codeshare and their commitment to promoting Jamaica through holiday packages, but pointedly avoiding any mention of their own direct flights. For Emirates, Jamaica represents a tantalizing foothold in the Americas. A Caribbean hub could allow them to funnel passengers into the region, bypassing congested U.S. hubs. But for Jamaica, the stakes are existential. A successful partnership would be revolutionary. It would mean their multi-billion-dollar airport investment pays off, and a flood of new visitors arrives from the Middle East and Asia. It would establish Jamaica once and for all, not just as a jewel of the Caribbean, but as its undisputed king. So, what does the future hold? The path forward for Jamaica's aviation ambitions forks into two dramatically different realities, one filled with promise and the other with disappointment. The nation stands at a crossroads where decisions made today could shape not just its tourism industry, but its entire economic identity for decades to come. Let's first imagine scenario one. The grand ambition succeeds. The public disagreements and mixed messages of 2025 fade into memory, remembered only as growing pains on the way to something monumental. Emirates, recognizing the strategic potential of Jamaica's location and market, finally gives the green light. What began as cautious discussions and a modest code-share agreement with Condor evolves into a deeper, transformative partnership. The Caribbean, long viewed as the edge of global aviation networks, suddenly finds its new center in Jamaica. Picture this future. You land at a gleaming, expanded Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay. The glass terminals shimmer beneath the tropical sun, bustling with travelers from every continent. The departure boards are alive with global connectivity to Dubai, London, Lagos, Shanghai, and beyond. Passengers who began their journeys in Mumbai, Johannesburg, or Manila now find themselves connecting through Montego Bay to destinations like Havana, Bogota, and even Miami. Jamaica is no longer the end of a route, it's the gateway to the Americas. The transformation is not merely symbolic, it's deeply economic. The hub ignites a new wave of growth. Tourism numbers surge, but this time, the impact runs deeper than resort bookings. Cargo operations expand rapidly as Emirates' global logistics network turns Jamaica into a regional trade artery. Every belly hold on an aircraft becomes a vessel of opportunity, carrying exports, imports, and new streams of commerce. Thousands of new jobs emerge, from air traffic management and customs operations to hospitality and logistics. Local businesses thrive as international investors rush to be part of the Caribbean's newest aviation success story. The island's strategic investments in airport expansion and infrastructure finally pay off, positioning Jamaica as the undisputed aviation leader of the Caribbean and a bridge between hemispheres. Now, let's turn to the darker path. Scenario 2, the spectacular failure. This is the future no one wants to imagine, but one that looms if ambition outpaces reality. The deal collapses under its own weight. Emirates, weary of political noise or unconvinced by the financial logic, quietly steps away. The conflicting statements of 2025, once thought to be strategic posturing, are revealed as signs of deeper misalignment. A polite but firm press release from Dubai confirms what many had feared. Emirates has decided to redirect its focus elsewhere. What follows is silence, heavy and disappointing. Jamaica's modernized airports, built with hope and national pride, stand gleaming yet underutilized. The passenger numbers never reach the projections. The long-haul travelers from the east fail to appear. The terminals, once expected to be overflowing, now echo with the faint footsteps of domestic tourists and regional flights. The bright promise turns into a sobering reminder of how fragile grand visions can be when execution falters. The infrastructure, though world-class, risks becoming a monument to miscalculation, a collection of white elephants. The airports that were supposed to symbolize progress instead become symbols of a gamble that didn't pay off. The dream of transforming Jamaica into a global hub fades, replaced by the old narrative of a beautiful but economically vulnerable island dependent on seasonal tourism. The emotional cost is as heavy as the financial one. The nation's confidence in its global ambitions takes a hit. The success or failure of this venture hinges on a series of formidable challenges, each complex and interlinked. The first is demand. Passenger volumes between the Gulf region and the Caribbean remain low. To sustain a hub, Jamaica would need a steady flow of connecting transit passengers, not just tourists. This means convincing travelers from Asia, Africa, and the Middle East to use Montego Bay as their gateway to the Americas, a bold proposition that demands both time and trust. The second challenge lies in costs. Operating ultra-long-haul routes is notoriously expensive. Fuel, maintenance, crew logistics, and route viability all factor into Emirates' calculations. Unlike government-backed national carriers that sometimes fly for diplomatic prestige, Emirates runs on commercial logic. Every flight must justify its existence in profit margins. If the numbers don't align, sentiment and geography alone won't be enough. Then comes the regulatory maze. The global aviation industry is governed by complex air service agreements and traffic rights, many of which take years of negotiation. Opening new corridors across continents involves not just airlines, but governments, regulators, and aviation authorities. The process is intricate and politically sensitive, especially when it involves competing regional interests in Latin America and the Caribbean. Finally, and perhaps most crucially, is regional cooperation. No hub can thrive in isolation. For Jamaica to succeed, it must cultivate a robust web of regional feeder airlines to channel passengers from neighboring islands and Central American cities into Montego Bay. Without these spokes, the hub remains an empty center. Building this network demands coordination, partnership, and sometimes the humility to share the stage with smaller carriers. The contest for control of the Caribbean skies is more than a fight over routes. It's a struggle for identity and influence. Jamaica's bold ambition is to evolve from a mere vacation destination into a pivotal crossroads of global travel. This effort goes beyond tourism. It represents a national transformation driven by vision, resources, and determination. The pursuit of a partnership with Emirates is both courageous and risky, aiming to reshape how the world perceives Jamaica. Success would redefine the island's economy through aviation, trade, and innovation. Failure would still offer vital lessons on ambition and resilience. Whatever the outcome, Jamaica has dared to dream beyond its borders. No longer content to be a place travelers visit, it seeks to become the place the world connects through, a statement of vision, courage, and the desire to take flight into a new era.